Federal and unitary form of government. No modern country can be governed by a single location only. A unitary state is a state of government with a single power in which the central government acts as an actor through a written constitution. All the sovereignty is confined to a single place. Britain constitution can be given this type of government. UK has no states, so the central government choose to give out powers to the devolved assemblies and local councils. It can take back its power at any time and are not guaranteed by the government. This is in contrast to the written federal form of government as in USA and Germany. Here the power is divided between the central government and various states. So for the definition of unitary form of government, it, the unitary government is a system of political organization in which the central government is the supreme government which holds the authority over and makes decision for their subordinates and local government. Unitary precisely means one. Therefore, from the definition, we can make out the main features of unitary form of government. Firstly, the advantages of unitary government is that it is a single decisive legislature with a single mass and simple management of economy, and the government here is smaller. Secondly, there is a centralization of power and and the centralization of power, and the powers are delegated to the units with strict supervision of central control. The government here is simple and single government. Government here is single and simple government. The political authority is controlled by the unitary government, and the unitary government, when it feels necessary can delegate power to the smaller states, and thus we see that here the unitary government has unified control over the local government. So there is no distribution of power between the national and the small states or the local institutions. The law here is uniform. There is a uniformity of law in all the states. So regarding the exhibition of their power, we saw that all the powers are centralized in the central government, and only center is the reservoir of all the states. In this type, no provincial government can empower the central government and adjudicate with full might. On one side, government acts as a full power without any external pressure, and thus the government works without any terror and without any checks. So, the central government only delegates its power to uh, the smaller units, to these units with and uh, and ex- it's, with centralized and with centralized uh, with controlled centralized supervision. Single and simple government means here the government is simple, and there is no provincial assemblies uh, or the upper chamber of the house. Here there is a single central government at the center with a single legislature popularly elected. The central legislature execute their power without any share. Thus, the legislature is uh, thus the legislature is very expensive, less expensive, and works with unified command. The upper chamber, as in upper chamber, is quite expensive and uh, which cannot be smaller states cannot afford. There is uniformity of law. Uniformity of law. Uh, this means that the government laws are made by the single central government and are uniformly enforced to all the states. To all the states, in the all the laws are made in the principle of justice and the nature of human being. According to the there is no distribution of power between the central and the states in the union government. In the unitary government, all the powers belong to the central government, and the central government is not in the grip of distribution of power. Flexible constitution. Here the constitution is quite flexible, as in the unitary form of government. The unit as in unitary form of government, all the center has the unified command over the states. So according to the laws can be changed, the constitution can be changed according to the and uh, need and time and the changing circumstances. Compared to the federal form of government, where the constitution is quite rigid and quite rigid. Therefore, we can say that uh, that unitary government is in the way of progressiveness, but despotism attribute to the unitary state. It is despotic when the rulers are not faithful or patriotic. All the powers are confined to the central government, and there is no checks there is no checks and balances. Is the As all the powers are confined to the central government, the responsibility of the government is more than that of the federal form of government. In principle, in federal government, the responsibilities are fixed to the institutions, but in uh, but in but the federal unitary constitution has more responsibilities, and best remain of and the best is remains in the central law of the land. So the from above the of the so from the above discussion, we can make out that the federalism is a system of the government in which the power is divided between the government and the national states and the various states.